Okay, so Assalamualaikum and good morning, everyone. Okay, so today actually I would like to record a video for you guys for our class on Sunday. So our class on Sunday is online class. Then I will record a video lah. So for today, okay. So for today class is online. Okay, and actually for this class, for today class, actually I will cover about the chapter 4. Okay, so chapter 4, I think for the chapter 4, we haven't covered yet because last 2 weeks, I think last 2 weeks, okay, last 2 weeks we cover on chapter 3, right? So for the chapter 3, I cover two weeks, 2 minggu, okay, for chapter 3 kan, because chapter 3 got many slides, got 3 set of slides, so I take much time for chapter 3. So for today, I will share a slide about the chapter 4, and maybe after this you can get from author. Okay, you can get from author all the slide and this pre-recorded video. Okay. Okay, so for your information, okay, before we start, for your information, for our class, so for our next class, which is on 17th of November, okay, for 17th of November, we will have a test. We will have a test. So the test will be conducted face to face during class. So please make sure you come early. So the test will be started at 8 a.m., 8 pagi. So the test on 17th of November, 8 a.m. Okay, 8 a.m. because the test will take 2 hours, 2 hours for the test for our subject lah. So make sure you come early, okay, and bring all your utensil and everything, okay, to answer the question. Okay, for your information, for the test, we'll cover from chapter 1 until chapter 3. Okay, chapter 1 until chapter 3. So for today's chapter is chapter 4. It is covered in your final examination. So from chapter 4 onwards is covered in your final examination. Chapter 1 until chapter 3 is on your test. Okay, you get what I mean? Okay, so we will continue with chapter 4, Management Information System. So the chapter 4 is about the data warehouse and resource management. So before this, we already talked about the introduction of the MIS, what is the information, what is the data, right? And then chapter 2 is about the networking, okay, the client server networking, what is the fiber optic, what is cable, what is the modem, what is the packet switch and everything. And then the chapter 3 is about the e-commerce. So in chapter 3, you learn about the B2B, B2C, right? And then got supply chain management, how the product is distributed from supplier until at the end of the flow, which is to the customer and so on. Okay, and then you learn also about the how you can market your product and so on in the chapter 3. So in this chapter, chapter 4 is about the data warehouse and resource management. So in this chapter, there are 4 outlines here, which first is of evolution of the data warehouse. So evolution of data warehouse is about the history of the data warehouse. And then the second one is about the data warehouse features and architecture. Okay, it's about those characteristic and the architecture of the data warehouse. And then the data mart. Okay, as you know, like inside the data warehouse, we have the data mart. Okay, data mart is a component inside the data warehouse. And how the data mart operate, how it works, and then how the operational data is stored. And then you learn also about the manage the data resource and also the warehouse. All right. So this is the evolution of the data platform. Okay. So if you learn before this, maybe during your diploma or maybe during your any other certificate before in computer science, maybe you learn about the database, right? So it start from the earliest of 1980. Okay, 1980. So it's a earliest of the database. Okay, it start increasing, it start developing all the improvement of the how the data will be used and so on, right? Okay, so it's early on 1980, and then it started to grow until 1984. Is already have the technology lah, the improvement of the technology. So in the data in term of the data warehouse, okay, it's about on the 1980s 1990s. Okay, it's a 1990, is already introduced a data warehouse. Okay, we have the inside the data warehouse, we have the big data technology, the cloud data, and so on. So currently, inside the data warehouse technology, we already have like the cloud database, right? For example, like Firebase and so on. So because before this we have the like a standalone database. Okay, you need to install, for example, MySQL inside your laptop, and then you use it. Okay, so now we already migrate. Okay, we already have another way to store a data. Okay, by using cloud, for example, Firebase, right? So inside the Firebase, you no need to install anything inside your no need to install the database inside your PC. You can just log in using browser, and you can store a data and link with your system using the browser lah. You got the connection and setting for that. Okay, so this is the evolution of the data platform. All right, so the managing data in a traditional file environment. Okay, so how you can manage the data in traditional file environment. Okay, so for example, we have database. Okay, from database, what is a database? Okay, database is a group of the data file. Okay, because database is something like a big or the mother. Okay, the mother of information. It store information inside the database, right? So it's a group of data that we store inside the database. So after inside the database, we have the file. Okay, file is a record. Okay, it's a group of record. For example, like a table, kan? Table. Inside the database, we have table. Okay, inside the database, kita ada table. So inside the table, we have record. For example, like a table A, table student, table course. Okay, inside the table, we have the column ataupun the record lah. Inside, for example, inside the table student. Okay, inside the student table, we have student ID, student name, student course, student what else? Many things. Okay, so that one we call it as a record. Okay, the data is a record. So inside the data, we have the field ataupun the characteristic of the data. Okay, like if you use the database, right? Before this, if you want to create a table, so you need to have the data type. For example, like a student ID. So what is the data type of the student ID? Okay, maybe integer or varchar or char. Okay, so you need to specify their field, or we call it attribute. We call it as a characteristic or the attribute. Nah. So for each of the attribute, for example, ID, they will have a data type for that. For example, if the data type is date, maybe it's referred to the date of birth. If the data type is varchar, maybe it can be ID and so on. Okay, you need to make sure that the data type and also the attribute is suitable. Okay, you cannot like for example name, but you assign name, the data type name is date. For example, you assign nama kan, contoh nama Siti Hajar, but the data type for the Siti Hajar is integer. Okay, it's not related at all. So after that, if you want to insert the data, it will prompt you an error if you want to insert the alphanumeric data. Okay, so you need to be careful on which data type you select. Okay, inside for each of the attribute that you have defined. Okay. So this is the roughly example of the database, right? So inside the database, for example, student database, we have table, for example, table cost, table personal, table financial. So file, the name, another name for the file is table. Okay, another name ataupun the replacement name for the file is a table. Okay, you can call it as a file and also table, but I prefer to use a table because it's more close, okay, so the database for me, but you can call it as a file as well. Okay, for example, we have three files here. We have cost, we have personal, and we have financial. Okay, so for example, inside the cost, okay, dalam table cost, for example, you put click on the cost, you insert into cost. Okay, inside the cost, for example, you create four attribute here. First attribute is a student ID. Second one is a cost. Third one is a date, and last one is a grade. For example, you have four attribute. Okay, so make sure, so then you insert a data, kan? So this is the data, and this is the file. So for example, file pertama, file cost. So this is the data. Okay, so the record. What is the record? Okay, record is like this one. For example, 39044. So this is the one record. Kan, satu record here. So the second record is the student. Okay, the metric, the ID number is 59432, and the ID cost is IS 101, and the date is F06, and the grade is A, for example. So this is the example of the record. This is the single record lah. Okay, kalau you ada banyak, so dia akan jadi multiple record. Okay, so field. Field is, for example, a single attribute. For example, if you choose one. So this is the attribute cost, kan? Attribute cost, so ada field dia. So IS101. So this is the first field. So the bytes. Okay, byte is, for example, you want to change it. Okay, you want to change the data into the bytes. So you translate it to the ASCII level. And then you also can change it to the bits as well. Okay, you can transform it from the bytes to the bit if you want. Okay, so that's how the data from the data until the bits, how it can connect and how it's related lah. Okay, so the traditional file processing. So the use of a traditional approach to the file processing encourage each functional area in a cooperation to develop a specialized application. Each application requires a unique data set that is likely to be a subset of the master data. So this is the example of the traditional file processing. For example, like before this, we don't have any database, right? So if you don't have any database, so how we store our data? We use the traditional approach. Okay, macam mana traditional approach? Traditional approach is a manual. Okay, you use the paper base, okay, to collect all the information. Okay, so once you have this kind of manual, for example, here we have a department account and finance. So finance and account, they will have their own data, right? They will have their own manual data, and then HR also will have their own manual data. Okay, but if sometimes the data might be redundant because they still if inside the single company, if inside one company, maybe the data of the staff will be redundant. Maybe inside the HR they already have this kind of data. Maybe inside the account and financing they also have this kind of data, but it's similar things. Once it's similar, we call it as a redundancy issue, got redundancy issue, inconsistency issue, meaning like, for example, the data in the HR is updated, but in the accounting and financing is not updated. So that things will prompt an issue or error to the system. Okay, so that's why we want to have a system. Okay, we want to have a system that can connect everything inside the single database so that it help us, okay, to connect, to get a data more efficiently and effectively rather than we use the traditional file processing. So the traditional file processing can lead to a several problems. So the problem is related with the data redundancy problem, okay, data inconsistency, okay, problem data dependence, lack of flexibility, poor security, data sharing issue, and availability issue. Okay, so that's the problem of the traditional file environment. Okay, you imagine like traditional file environment is you store a data separately, okay, based on the different department. Okay, once you store at the different department, so the data might be redundant. Okay, because we store at this department, we store at this department, and so many department, and then store every single every similar information, so it might be redundant and inconsistent, and that is not flexible, meaning like if you want to have a data at HR, so you need to contact HR and to get the data, and so it's not flexible, so it's very difficult, okay, to access the data. And also in terms of security, also there are lacking of security, okay, because inside the data warehouse it have their own security technology, okay. But if you implement the traditional file environment, is very lack of security lah, and also got problem with the data sharing. I already informed you just now. Okay, so the capabilities of data management system, DBMS. Okay, so database is serve many application by centralizing data and controlling redundant of data. So that's a database. But once you talk about the data management system, okay, it's a system. Okay, before this you only have database. Database is a place that store a data, to control a data, kan? But if you have the DBMS, which is another improvement of the technology from the database, we call it as a DBMS. DBMS is, for example, MySQL, kan? MySQL is one of the DBMS. It have the physical data file. Okay, it have the logical and physical view. Okay, it also help to handle the traditional file environment issue. For example, to manage redundancy, to improve the inconsistency, to improve the security issue, and so on. Okay, that's why before this we only have like Excel access, kan. Kalau you if you learn before this, we have the Microsoft Access, bukan Excel, Access, ACCESS, Access. Okay, Microsoft Access is one of the place to store a data. Okay, but it don't have it's very limited in terms of the security and so on. Now we already have the like MySQL, Oracle database, and so on. It's a DBMS. It's more centralized, and it have security, is more secure lah, because you need to have the password, you need to have the username to log in, right? So next is this is the example. So example of the HR database with multiple views. So for example, inside the DBMS, right? Inside the DBMS, so this is the database, and then you can access the data by using view. Okay, by using view, you can access the data. For example, if you want to get a data about the benefit, maybe you can just retrieve. You can create a view to retrieve a data about the benefit. And for example, if you want to view a data about the payroll, so you can create a view. You can create a view to select the attribute and table that related with the payroll. Okay, that's the way how DBMS connect lah. So to create a view, actually we have their own statement. Okay, for example, you can try to Google how to create a view. Actually, create views is something like create table. Okay, you can create a view inside for example, MySQL. You can try it. You can try. Okay, the example of the code, the SQL statement to create a view, you can get from database, from Google, or you can search at internet. There are many ways to create a view, but it depends on the table, on the attribute that you want to select, and so on. It depends on the condition of the table that you want to do any selection lah. Okay, so the capabilities of DBMS. So before this, we talked about the database, right? The database from the traditional, and then we convert into the database, and then from the database you convert into the DBMS. So inside the DBMS is another version of the database. Okay, we have the table. For example, you try to imagine MySQL. Okay, MySQL, we have a table, right? So ada tuple, ada column, ada key field, ada primary key and foreign key. That's the column and rows, okay, inside the table. Okay, so the relational database table. So this is the example of the relational database table. So we have supplier, for example, we have two tables. So first table is table supplier, and second table is table part. Okay, so this is the attribute. Okay, we call it as a column. Column ni, yang ada column ni 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Six column here, we call it as an attribute of field. Okay, and this is row, we call it as a record or tuple, and this is the primary key. Okay, so this is the another table. Okay, for example, we have two identifier here. Usually the primary key will be located at the left side, which is the first attribute before others attribute is a primary key, and the last attribute usually we call if we have like a supplier number ke kan, something like connect with other table, itu adalah foreign key. Okay, for example, we have ID that connect with two tables. Okay, that one is we call it as a foreign key to connect with other table. And primary key is an identifier for each table, but foreign key is we use to connect to other table. Okay, we use foreign key to connect to other table. All right, so operation of a relational DBMS, there are three basics operation used to develop useful set of data. We have select, join, and also project. For example, select is to create a subset of data of a record that meets stated criteria. Okay, to join is we, for example, kalau select is you want to do any selection. Select staff from table employee, for example. Okay, kalau join is, for example, you want to do any join. For example, inner join. Okay, upper join. Okay, left join, right join, and many more. Okay, you can use a join term, okay, to join tables. Okay, project is also is similar things, you know, with the join, but it's more on to create the subset of column. Okay, you want to connect to the different column inside the table, ataupun you want to have a subset by using multiple table. Okay, you can use the project. So this is the example how you do the connection between the table, right? So the three basic operation of a relational DBMS. So this is the part one, which is the table one. This is the table two, and you can connect both. Okay, for example, like part number. Okay, this is the primary key. So this is the primary key of the supplier, and this is the primary key of the part. And then if you want to get the data from these two, you can connect to make it like this. Okay, so this is another table which is you can use to view a data from both table. For example, you want to get a data from this part and also supplier, so you can just pull the data, and you need to have the primary key from both table. Okay, you need to have the primary key for the part number and also the supplier number, and then the others is you can add if you want. You want to add another attribute also can. For example, part name, unit price. Okay, this one, if you want to have the supplier name, supplier street, and so on, also can. It depends on what kind of operation that you want to do. Okay, it's not a standard. Okay, you can just you can manipulate it. Okay, you can manipulate every single data inside your database. So it's very easy for us to manage and manipulate the data. So in the DBMS already, currently they already have the NoSQL. Okay, NoSQL is another technology of DBMS, which is more flexible, and data set is stored across the distributed machine, and it's easy to scale and is to handle the large volume of data. Okay, for example, if you have the data like video data, social graphic, and so on, we use the NoSQL because it's more flexible and it's very easy compared to the SQL statement punya database lah. So database in the cloud, for example, we have Microsoft Azure, Firebase, and so on. It's a database in the cloud. It's another technology in the DBMS as well. Okay, so this is the capabilities of database management system. So the capabilities of database management system, we can have the data definition, you can have the data dictionary, you can do the add, delete, update, all the data manipulation language you can use, right? You can insert, you can update, you can delete, you can create, and so on using the DBMS. So Microsoft, this is an example of the Microsoft Access Data Dictionary features. For example, if you want to view the data dictionary, right, inside the Microsoft Access is from here lah, the properties. Usually data dictionary, we also call it as a features ataupun properties of each data. For example, kita nak tengok, okay, column attribute name. Okay, apa nama dia? Okay, apa dia punya, what's their type? How their length, okay, who's create this table and so on. Okay, this is the example of data dictionary. So this is the example of the SQL query. So this, for example, you do join. Okay, you do join from two table, which is from table part and also table supplier. Okay, so this is the example if you want to get a data from both table using the single SQL query, also can. Okay, so this is the, for example, if you want to use the Microsoft Access query, is something like this. Okay, you can do the connection by using their own interface here. Okay, capabilities of DBMS. So designing the database. So inside the DBMS, you actually can design the database. Okay, so to design database is actually you design using any diagram. Okay, for example, like you design DFD kan, DFD, and then DFD level 0, level 1, level 2, okay, and so on. And then you also can design the process identifies, okay, you create the creation sheet, and also sometimes you also can do a normalization. For example, if you have the ERD, okay, ERD, for example, if you think that, okay, must have a bridge table because of got redundant issue and so on. So that's a normalization that you need to handle a many-to-many relationship or the redundancy issue lah. So this is the example of the unnormalization of the data. So this is the order before normalized. For this one, you also will learn inside the subject database. Okay, the details of normalization, unnormalization. Okay, you will learn in the database subject. So this is the example of order before normalization. So before the normalization, we have like this table or the table. So an unnormalized relation contain repeating groups. Okay, for example, there can be many parts and suppliers for each order. There is also only one-to-one. Okay, so this is, for example, before normalization, we have many data. For example, if you see here, we have order, we have part, okay, we have supplier. Okay, so it's messy. Okay, it's combined everything here. Okay, and then once you do the normalization, so actually we separate, okay, we from the data that messy, that combine everything inside the single database. So now you already separate it to their own table. Okay, it's more normalized. Okay, for example, it's part, we will have the data part inside their own table and so on. So in the DBMS also we have the referential integrity, which is for the foreign key. Okay, if you want to set a foreign key, but usually in the SQL statement we will have the referential integrity rules. Okay, that one because we want to have the connection with other tables, so you need to set the integrity rules. Okay, so in order to create a database, so before you create a database using the using your any software, so usually we create a ERD. Okay, ERD is one of the tools for database designer to design. Okay, to design the model, what actually the attribute that you want to use, what actually the table, okay, how the connection and so on. You can draw it using the ERD. Usually for the ERD, we will do it using Microsoft Visio, Lucid Eye, and so on. So currently there are many diagrams. Okay, there are many tools for you to create a ERD. Okay, like it depends on you which software that you want to use lah. If you ask me, I prefer to use the Microsoft Visio because that one is standalone, but it's a license. It's licensed. So if you don't have the license, so maybe you can use a Lucid Chat or Lucid Art. Okay, that one is a free. Okay, but you need to register lah for the account. So this is the example of ERD. So this is the ERD. You have the supplier, part, line item, and also the order. Okay, so from the supplier, you connect to the part. Okay, for example, one supplier provide one to many part. and one-to-many part is supplied by one supplier. Okay, so that's the way how you can read the ERT. So for example, part and line item is one part is ordered by one or many line item. One or many line item contain one part. Okay, that's the how you read. Okay, so the data warehouse. So before this, before data warehouse is introduced, before this we just have the DBMS, but currently we already have the data warehouse. Okay, because there are a lot of data that need to be stored, because we want to use the data even though data is old data. For example, like 10 years data, 10 years ago data, 20 years ago data, we still want to use it, but before this, we have difficulties on how we want to treat, how we can treat this data. Okay, because inside, if we want to only store inside the DBMS, it's very difficult for us. Okay, because DBMS is the storage is, we will have the storage issue, we have the energy consumption issue. Okay, so that's why we introduce the data warehouse. Data warehouse is actually something like data storage. The we like warehouse is a gudang kan. Okay, so the once we talk about the gudang ataupun the warehouse is a place to store many kind of the data, and the data once is insert into the data warehouse, it won't be deleted. Okay, you remember kalau dimasuk dalam data warehouse, so it won't be deleted. Okay, so data warehouse is an integrated, subject-oriented, time-variant, non-volatile database that provides support for decision making. So integrated is like it can integrate with other database. Okay, it can integrate with other the warehouse and also database. Okay, and it's also the subject-oriented. It can be a subject-oriented. If, for example, if you ask the question about the profit, they will prompt you a result about the profit. For example, if you want to ask a question, if you want to have data about the lose ataupun income, so they will prompt you a result about the income. Okay, that's the subject oriented lah. So the time variant is to represent a data through a time lah. You can have the old data. Okay, for non-volatile is once you insert into the data warehouse is not never be removed. Okay, so that's the non-volatile. It's keep growing. Okay, dia takkan reduce. Okay, data warehouse will be keep growing. So this is the example of the data warehouse and database. So data warehouse, we have the different database. For example, customer relationship management, entity, enterprise relationship, product, supply chain. So everything will be inserted into the data warehouse. So using the data warehouse, we can do the analysis, you can do the reporting, you can do the mining. Okay, so this is the database. So for example, database is just a standalone, it's only one. But if data warehouse is a lot and it will connect to the data warehouse, and you can do many things, many analysis with. You can analyze in terms of profit, you can analyze in terms of income, in terms of lose, anything that related with the data that exists inside the data warehouse, so you can use it. All right, so the difference between database and data warehouse, so this one you can read by your own. So the purpose is data, maybe the purpose is different. So the handle is, this one is for database is handled online, which is the online transaction, but this one for data warehouse is online analytical, but this one is online transaction. So the table and join is have the complex relationship, and then this one is not standard. Okay, data warehouse don't have any standard table and join. So the storage is only for one application. For example, if you have one system, so usually we will have the one database, right? But this one for data warehouse is so many various of sources, and the availability is available from real time should be there. And then the ER model technique is used. A skill is capture data, and this one is to analyze the data. Data type is always updated, and this one is current and also the history of the data. Data saving is flat relational approach, and this one is multidimensional because this one dia punya save dia macam dia ada data map. Okay, dia ada the different way how it will save a data. Okay, this one the type of query is more simple, and this one is a complex, and this one is you will save the details of the data. This one is will store the summary of the data. Okay, data warehouse will store a summary. Kalau database ni kita store details like for example student ID, student name. Okay, kalau data warehouse dia store lebih kepada benda-benda yang summarization. Okay, for example berapa banyak kerugian, berapa banyak keuntungan untuk tahun 2020, berapa banyak keuntungan yang kita dapat, berapa banyak produk yang keluar, berapa banyak produk yang masuk, okay, something like that. So this is the example of the data warehouse architecture. So data warehouse, we have data source. We have, for example, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 data sources. So it will go to the staging area. So this is staging area. We have the interaction, transform, and load, and then go to the warehouse. This is the metadata, summary data, and also the raw data. And this is the data mart. So data mart, it will separate lah into the single process. Okay, data mart, for example, if you have purchasing, sales, and so on, and this is the how a user can do the analysis. So user usually, for example, you want to access the data warehouse, for example, like you want to use Microsoft Azure, right? So you will sit here, you will see you will sit here, and maybe you will do analysis, and it will help you to retrieve a data from data marts, warehouse, staging, and also from the data sources. This one, so you can read by your own. You can see later on how the layer of the data warehouse can. All right. So next is a comparison of the data warehouse and operational database characteristic. So the characteristic is integrated. Okay, this one I already discussed. Okay, before this, integrated kan, you can integrate. Kalau subject oriented is, for example, if you want that kind of data, it will give you a result lah. For example, like time variant. Okay, is data once it insert into the data warehouse, it won't be deleted. Kalau non-volatile, data cannot be changed. Okay, it cannot be changed. It will keep inside the data warehouse. All right. So the tools for improvement for the business performance and decision making. So inside this chapter, actually, we will also learn about the tools for improvement and also the business performance and decision making. Okay, actually, once you have the data warehouse, so how it can help us to improve our business. For example, you have business, right? You have the big business. You have the good manufacturing business or factory now. So how you think that data warehouse can help you to improve your business? Okay, actually, once you have the data warehouse, you can improve your business because currently nowadays we already have the business intelligence. Okay, business intelligence, for example, big data. Okay, big data technique and so on. So we already have the contemporary tools. We have the data warehouse, data mart, Hadoop, in-memory analytical platform. That's the example of the tools that can help to improve the performance of the business and decision making. Okay, usually like this one kan. If for example you want to do to have the decision making, okay, so you want to do any decision, so maybe you can retrieve you as a user here, so you can retrieve from the data warehouse, and then it will go for the Hadoop cluster, and this one is a data that have been stored. So the data, every single data will be stored, okay, will go to the Hadoop cluster and insert into the data warehouse. So from here, so you will retrieve a data. So you will retrieve, kalau if you want to retrieve a data, for example, like inside the data warehouse, it's not like it will give you a result like table 1 datanya apa, table 2 datanya apa, no. Okay, it's about the summarization of the data. Okay, but summarization from different database, from the different sources. Okay, so you will see now. For example, if you want to do prediction, okay, I want to do a prediction. For example, either tomorrow will the weather for tomorrow is will have a cloudy or sunny day for tomorrow, for example. So what you need to do if you want to do the prediction for tomorrow? So maybe you can check the the humidity of a cloud, for example. So maybe you need to check from today, from last a few weeks before. Okay, dia punya humidity, dia punya kelembapan, dia punya moisture kan. And then every single thing you need to know, and then it will prompt you a result. For example, business intelligence ni biasanya you just write You just write what you want, and it will give you a result. Maybe the prediction is like this. Okay, maybe based on this kind of data, maybe based on humidity 50%, kelembapan 20%, and so on. Okay, so saya menjangkakan esok hujan. Okay, okay. For example, if the result is humidity is 100% ke whatever kan, so maybe the result will be different. So that's the business intelligence. They help you to improve your business. For example, like kalau you nak buat contohlah, for example, you are CEO, you are CEO of a business. For example, you want to know either next year 2025 either my product can be is still in trend or not. For example, okay, saya own a iPhone, for example. I own a Apple lah. Okay, I own a Apple. I'm the Apple owner. So I want to know either next year what is the demand of the next year, ataupun what's the demand of Apple for the next year, what people want to have next year, what's the demand of the technology next year. Either smartwatch will be trending, or a smartphone will be trending, or laptop will be trending, or smart pen or whatever will be trend. Okay, will be trending. So that's the how business intelligence will help you to do your decision making. So itu adalah cara dia. So that's the how, for example, CEO kan. CEO or boss dia nak tengok the trend for the next year. Adakah saya boleh for example, okay, if they have like contohlah kan, tahun depan boleh ke kalau macam saya nak I want to introduce a new smartwatch, for example. Okay, if I introduce the new smartwatch, this product can be sell or not. Okay, they will do the analysis. The business intelligence will help you to do analysis based on the existing data. They will help you to give you a result. Okay, and for example, if you want, if the data is saying that okay, next year is that smartphone will be trending. So maybe you as a business owner, once you have this kind of result or this kind of answer, maybe you need to improve again. Maybe you need to improve again your decision. Okay, so maybe next year I cannot focus on smartwatch because I think it won't be a sale. Okay, the business is not so trending and so on. So maybe you need to change it to the business to the mobile or smartphone. Right, so that's the way how it works now. Okay, so this is the example of the tools for improvement of the decision making is big data. Okay, and then data warehouse, data mart, Hadoops. Okay, in memory computing, analytic tools. This is the OLAP. Okay, data mining, text mining, web mining. Okay, this is the OLAP. OLAP is one of the technique inside the data warehouse. Okay, it helps you to answer a question, to give you a result. Okay, data mining. Okay, once in the data warehouse, you also can access the data warehouse using data mining. Data mining is a technique. Okay, it's a technique for you to handle a data. Okay, we have the association, sequence, classification, clustering, forecasting. This is the technique inside the data mining that you can use. Alright, so inside the web mining, you also can do the you can structure the mining of the web. You can see the web usage, the content of the web, and so on. So database and the web. Okay, database and the web. Many companies use web to make some internal database available to customer or partners. Okay, typical configuration include web server, application server, middleware, and so on. So the advantage of the web for database access is for use for browser software. Web interface have no change to the database and is inexpensive. Okay, so managing the firm data resource. Okay, for example, if you already have the data warehouse, so you need to have the improvement in terms of policy lah. Okay, so you need to have the data policy, data governance policy. Okay, so you need to have the someone that work as a data administration to manage your data and so on. Okay, it's because once you already have the data warehouse, so you need to handle a lot of data. So that's why you need to have the good policy, you need to have the good people, the good staff to handle the data warehouse and so on. So to ensure the data quality, okay, more than 25% of critical data in Fortune 100,000 company database are inaccurate or incomplete. So the data issue, okay, inside the data resource, we will have the issue like the quality of the data is redundant. Okay, there's some problem of the data quality is related with the redundancy, kan, inconsistency, the faulty of the data. So that's why some issues, some data resource need to improve, need to have the another place to store data. That's why sometimes we use or we store it into the different place because we want to improve the redundancy, we want to improve the inconsistency, and we want to correct all the faulty of the data. So the another one is about the audit of quality audit lah. Okay, and then the data cleansing. Okay, data cleansing is about we want to remove incomplete data. For example, like data that don't have the we don't have the name. Okay, only have the IC number but don't have a name. Okay, sometimes the name is there but don't have the IC number or don't have the date of birth and so on. So that's the incomplete or incorrect data. But sometimes it also might be the issue on the redundancy. Like okay, for the first one, okay, similar IC number or similar name. Okay, similar name with similar IC number. Okay, that's the things that we need to handle lah. All right, so I think that's all for the chapter 4. Okay, so see you next week on 17th of November. 17th of November is on Sunday morning, 8 a.m. Make sure 8 a.m. we start. 8 a.m. The test will be started. So make sure you come early before 8 a.m. So on 12th of November, which is our lab session, no lab session will be conducted. Okay. Because we already covered lab 3 last week, right? So no lab will be conducted by this week. All right. So if you have any question, please let me know. Okay. So I think that's all from me. Thank you. Assalamualaikum.